Shut up now.
Okay. No.
Hello and welcome to Critical Questions, the antidote to lockdown boredom. I've trawled the internet for the best, worst, most interesting and ridiculous dumb questions I can find, and with any luck, my guests will be able to answer all of them. Now, today I am seriously outnumbered. I have almost an entire panel full of Americans.
Oh no, not Americans. You have a case of Americans?
I thought it was a gaggle of Americans.
Yeah.
A 4-pack, if you will.
I think at the moment it's a murder of Americans. So.
I know, I was going to say that, but I was like, oh, is that too dark for this early in the morning?
A contagion of Americans?
Yeah,
Contagion
yes,
of
it has
Americans.
a case of Americans.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, let me touch my face a lot.
Yeah.
I'm just going to do
Right.
that all the time, so I just wash my hands more often.
That's what I've been doing.
My logic.
I don't.
Not touch it.
Honey. You're so sweet.
Right, we have got with us Jen.
Hi.
We have got Julie.
Hello.
We have got Amanda. We have got Mel.
Hi.
And we've got B.
Hi,
And
guys.
luckily for us, none of them are actually awake.
No.
Why has Nerdy removed his pants?
I don't know.
That's what Dirty always does for live streams.
Yeah, Nerdy hasn't worn pants since lockdown started, if not before.
No.
Oh god.
So, according to Nerdy, that's, you know.
It leads very well onto the first question, actually.
Oh, good.
Question 392. Why do superheroes wear the underwear on the outside of their clothes?
Oh, so-
Lonely comic artists.
Oh, sorry.
No,
Are
I'm
we
sorry,
raising
Mel.
hand? No, I didn't know how we were gonna do this. Are we raising hands?
Yeah, just answer, Mel.
Just answer.
Just answer.
Just randomly interrupt. Just
Okay.
randomly
Yeah, that's
interrupt.
what I
That's fine.
do.
So all the authorities can see that their underwear is clean. Because my mom always said I should wear clean underwear just in case, you know, I
Just in
get
case
in
you're
an
in an
Do you think they're likely to get into an accident?
Yes, that's why. Clean underwear.
Is
You
it
know
for
what-
streamlining?
You'd
We
think
don't
it would
want
offer
the-
less
the-
streamlining.
You don't want the paramedics to think that, you're a filthy person, so.
That's right.
Or that you're
It's a
scared.
fact.
Yeah. You know what?
That's it.
I did. You know, you default to Tony Stark, who is in the Iron Man suit, and you know, if you follow Marvel at all, like Iron Man, I think it was 3. He had a little bit of PTSD episodes, so maybe he had like a waist thing going on in the Iron suit to where it could collect that in case he did. You know.
You think it works like a spacesuit? I mean, it can go into space, so.
Yeah, probably a little bit like that. Probably like that.
Well,
So,
of course, by the time he got to Infinity War, he of course had the nano one, so he could actually have it undo the zipper for him.
That's right. That's right.
So yeah,
Work out.
I'm also thinking about the first time he would have, the first test flight of that suit. I mean, surely he had a backup plan.
Yep. Oh my
it probably
god.
involved the cork because he was going very low tech.
I just thought it was because the guys like to touch their junk so much that maybe, if it's external, it feels better. I don't know.
The latex feels better in the yeah. Badger says if they don't wear
Dave,
them
I
on
don't
the
know where you're going with that.
Latex isn't breathable. You would sweat and sweat and sweat profusely.
which is why it'd be itchy.
Oh gosh, baby powder. Lots of baby.
Yeah.
Lots of baby powder.
Wow, this is how we learn things about each
I was
other.
going to say, and that's going to lead to lots of clagginess. Badger says if they don't wear them on the outside, people might think they're weird. Manda, do you have an opinion on this controversial topic?
Not really. Topic chicken, please. First. No idea.
Amanda doesn't like superheroes.
No, I don't.
They're still like children trying to dress themselves. That's what it is.
Yeah. So,
Oh,
Maybe it's quicker in foam boxes to put the underpants on the outside.
maybe.
I thought everything was on
tried to
underneath
do
anyway.
It's really hard. Like, you really got to tug on your clothes to get the underwear up there properly. I'm just saying.
And you're
It's not
risking a sex offender charge every time you do it. It's rough.
It's true. It's true.
Imagine
I mean, you have
Superman
to be a
on list.
superhero to put. You have to be a superhero to put underwear on over top of your clothes that quickly. I'm just saying. That's why the rest of us don't do it.
I'm just wondering now, after you said that, Julie, how on earth will the ankle tracker work with Superman?
I don't know.
Because he just moves so fast in between areas that, I mean,
Blip, blip.
but someone like the Flash, I mean, he could go commit a crime and come back before they even notice that he'd gone.
Yeah, I don't think it would register in him.
Yeah,
Like the
I
Flash
don't
was-
think it'd work.
Yeah.
We've just labeled two of the biggest superheroes as sex offenders.
We did, and that's gonna come back on me so hard. at
Yeah,
some
that's
point.
gonna
Somebody's
come
gonna be
back
so
at
mad.
some point. Somebody's
be a
pick that one
comment.
up.
It's gonna be scary
Badger is
comments.
never
under
going to
my
let me
video.
live that down.
Don't
Especially
ever
after the I
say.
gave him about Star Wars.
Oh God, don't ever say I didn't like the Mandalorian, and because then your Twitter will be full of people going, "How dare you?" And I'm like,
Yes,
And
you should
one
have a
of them
talk
will
to
be
Badger
Amanda.
Mel. You should have a talk to Badger Mel because he doesn't like anything Disney Star Wars.
I mean, it's just, I'm like, I just didn't like this one show. It put me to sleep every time I tried to watch it. I don't know why. I found it boring.
Different people like different things. It's like I don't like Breaking Bad. I think it's a dreadful show, and people are like, "How can you not like that? It's a really." I don't like it.
I see exactly what you mean about it being dreadful. I
Yeah.
still watched it all the way through and enjoyed it, but there were many moments where I was like, oh God, I feel sick. This is horrible. This
There's
is really-
many moments where
It's
they take
true.
extreme liberties with the science. There's many moments where they sensationalize criminal activity, and I just didn't like it. So
yeah,
it's just me. I didn't like it.
that's okay. But see, then I get people like, you shouldn't just go shitting on fandoms just because you don't like it. And I'm like,
I'm not shitting on it.
Star Wars. I like Star
Okay.
Trek. I like video games. I like just about every fandom. But it's okay for me to not like certain things in it.
It
Yeah,
is one
exactly.
word, Twilight.
Oh my god!
I will point out that I have watched all
They
the
just
movies
drug
and
that
I
shit
have read the
out.
books.
Oh my god.
The books are, whilst not brilliant, are 1,000 times better than the movies.
I got halfway through the first book.
You were going to
and
say
what
no
you
and then
said.
you agreed with me.
I'm
Yeah,
like,
I was gonna say I was like, oh no, the books are terrible, but also they're better than the films. Yeah,
They're way better than the films.
and I
Yeah.
did read them all. I have an informed opinion on this because
I
I
read
read a
them
lot
all
of
too,
nieces and
yeah.
nephews, and so I read them all to stay hip with the nieces and nephews, and no, they're crap.
yeah, I got halfway through the first one, and I'm like, Edward is like a creepy old pedophile. That's all I just
He is, isn't
watches
he?
her sleep.
creepy old pedophile throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, he's like 1,000
And-
years old and he's going after this little girl. I know.
Yeah,
He's a freaking stalker.
oh,
He
and her
doesn't look
parents
it,
are
and that's all that
terrible.
apparently matters.
Yeah.
Right, next question. I thought that would be a quick one.
We went way
Yeah.
off the beaten track then.
That was
I thought
great.
that would be a very quick question to start.
Oh, Dave.
You
Right,
should
Now,
know better by
Dave.
now, Dave.
question
All
300
these
and
Americans in here.
question 393. Have you ever been in a police car?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Why?
in the back.
Why?
A friend of mine's boyfriend was being an asshole, and they were driving home, and he threw her emergency brake while she was driving in the middle of a main street in my town. And then he took her keys and threw them off into the night somewhere. And she called me, and I went to go rescue her. And the cop let me sit in the back of the car, a police car, with her. She'd been bartending all night, so she smelled like a brewery, but she wasn't drunk. But she'd been bartending all night, and so he was basically waiting for like breathalyzer and other checks and stuff to come back, and before he let her go. But yeah, and then we had to get her car towed. It was a whole thing, whole odyssey.
B.
Fun story.
Once I was in the back, but I was writing a report with the cop because we had been robbed where I was working at. And I said to him, like, all my customers were walking by and they were looking in like, what'd you do?
Oh, no.
That was like a 3-day explanation. I had to tell the story like 3 times. So I was like, can I sit in the front? No, you can't. Like, he was just being a jerk. And then the car accident with my mother, I sat in the front seat with the cop for like 45 minutes doing some kind of a report with him. And he was lecturing me about the accident and blah, 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 blah. And so finally I looked at him and I said, are you done? And he was like, what? I said, are you done? I said, they're pulling my mom out of a car right there and you're sitting here lecturing me. Like, I don't give a flying shit what you have to say right now. I want to go check on her. And he just looked at me, he goes, yeah, I guess we're done. And I got out and I just slammed his door like the angry ex-girlfriend. And
Nice.
and I thought for sure I'm in trouble, but he let me go. Like, I just told him off. Told him,
Cool.
fuck off. I don't have time for this. I want to go check on my mom. So those were my 2 times.
Jeff says, a copper gave me a lift in a police car. So that counts. Mathpig says, yes, ... moving on.
Oh, no, we know that story. But
is anyone surprised by Mathpig's answer?
No.
No.
Mel.
Not even a shred.
No, I haven't actually been in the back of a police car before. I've dodged that.
You've dodged that.
In the front?
Not in the front either.
Oh.
So, not ever been inside of a police car. I think my mom would have tore my backside up if I had been. But
You don't have to be in trouble to be in there.
well, I know you don't have to be in trouble to be in there, but somebody.
You think she might have responded badly to start off with?
Yeah, somebody would have told her. I saw
Anger
Mel
first, explanation later.
Yeah, I saw Mel in a police car today, and then because her mind would have fabricated a story by the time I got home, and it would have been fantastical. So that's always fun.
Oh, yeah. You would have been like a drug-selling prostitute by the time you got home. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, no, not even as an adult. So I guess that's pretty cool.
Bucket list.
I haven't checked that off yet.
Manda.
What about you, Amanda?
No.
Not once.
Just no. Just no.
Jeez, Dave.
It's not an experience I'd relish. It was not fun. I see it's really hard and uncomfortable.
Oh, I see what it is. All Americans end up in cop cars. Okay,
Yeah. You're
Gotcha.
Oh, God.
Jen.
I don't remember ever being in one, but as my my cousin's husband was a cop, and she was like 15 years older than me, so when I used to be visiting in and around the area where they lived, he'd occasionally pick me up, and I'm betting he'd pick me up a couple of times in the cop car, but I don't remember. So it's one of those things I don't remember, but most likely I have, but not for any illegal thing.
Do you think
That's
Do you think a police Land Rover counts?
Yeah.
I've been in one of them lots of times.
I've been in a
Go
cop
ahead,
car.
Dave.
A car that used to be a cop car.
I set up a cybercafe for kids. That was the police. Organised by the police. It was organised by me, but it was backed by them. So they drove me around a lot. It was
Good thing it was
just
backed by them because it might have made you look bad otherwise. A cyber cafe for kids.
It was at a point that not everyone had a computer. I'm old.
Yeah.
And it was after I came out of hospital, so my leg was in a cast. So they basically drove me everywhere.
Computer?
What's a computer?
How old I am.
Jeff says, Manda, I can remedy the situation so you can ride in a police car, but it would require repeatedly doing his Jar Jar impression around you.
You murdered him, so I went to the top power. So.
And Badger says, I've been in a fire
It's the
service
reaction
helicopter.
of the flip off and then the cover up.
Badger's been in a fire. What were they rescuing badgers from a fire?
I want to know that story, but we'll have to wait till tomorrow.
Yeah.
Or whenever we beat him up next. When he gets his new computer, I don't think he's going to be around for days.
No.
Right.
Hang on, are you saying he won't be around for days after he gets his new computer?
Yes.
Is that a Pornhub reference?
No.
Oh.
Maybe.
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
Oh, gosh. Giggity.
Oh, it was at a point.
You're predictable, Dave.
That frickin' Family Guy episode where, what's his name, discovers the internet and then his, he's gone for like 2 weeks and comes out of his house and like his right arm is huge.
I've got to go back inside.
He's like, I just got the internet, guys.
Oh, I
And
missed that one.
I forget his name, but he's the one that walks.
Quagmire.
The sun.
Quagmire. Oh my God, Quagmire.
Oh, was it Quagmire? Was it?
Quagmire.
He discovered internet porn.
Oh my God.
I'm
Giggity,
surprised it
giggity.
took him that
Yeah.
long.
He's just young.
He's just
One
your
track
friendly
mind.
neighborhood sex predator.
Yeah,
It's true, man.
yeah.
Yeah, you just know he's got one of those leg trackers, doesn't he?
Probably.
I hope so.
Right.
Don't get me started on those things. I've never had one.
Aha.
Clarify that.
We believe you.
We
It's
believe
a good way to point out. It's a good way to point out a thief in the store. I'm just saying. Like they come in there, they look like they're on meth, and they have a ankle bracelet on,
bracelet.
and then they're like, "Why are you following me? What do you think I'm gonna steal?"
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
I'm
yeah, I
just
do.
stalking.
Yeah,
I am stalking things that happen to be near you. That's
They're
all.
only wearing
you know
it
what
for fashionable
I don't even
reasons.
play that game.
Yeah. Fashion statement.
I don't even play that game with them anymore. I just walk up and go, let's not like pretend like I'm not watching you and you're pretending like you're not stealing. Why don't you just leave? That's what I say. Just get
I
out
like
of here.
that.
Oh God, it's like a game. I don't want to play the game anymore.
No.
I respect that.
Oh, you've
Right.
got the next question up and you haven't read it.
I know, because I can't get a word
Because
in.
we haven't shut up.
Question 394, which I've had to really mangle. Right. A TV show with 4 contestants. The first prize winner wins $10 million. The person that comes fourth is publicly executed.
Jeez, good lord.
Would you enter? And just to answer, the second prize is a holiday in Portugal, and the third prize is a £10 gift token.
Then absolute fuck
No.
no.
No,
Wait, what was the
definitely
first
not.
prize?
$10 million.
$10 million.
Oh, fuck that. Money's not worth it.
Oh
No.
my gosh.
Yeah, I've never had millions of dollars, so it's fine. I'm good.
Yeah.
You're
Can't
good.
see.
Right.
Oh, dude.
I'm used to it.
Yeah.
Okay, if Donald Trump is going to be in it,
Oh.
who? My
Might watch
question is, who are the other contestants? Is it like Donald Trump, Richard Spencer,
touche.
and is it a science show? Because if so, I'm in. So, like,
She's like, I will blow his ass away and he's dead.
I might, and then I'll donate the majority of the $10 million, you know, to some kind of charity that, you know, helps other people. I'm fine with that. If Donald Trump is in it, Richard Spencer, and you know,
boom,
some
the
other
stream's
horrible-
gone.
So you'd risk your own public execution.
Well, if it's in science and I'm up against somebody like Donald Trump, I think I'm okay. So,
Yeah, you're not going to suggest that we inject ourselves with disinfectant.
I mean,
I'm fine.
I'm just saying, it depends on who the other contestants are and what the quiz is about. So, but other than
Mel,
that,
we
no,
should-
it's just people that I don't know. I wouldn't do it.
We should get a group together and sing that chlorine song.
Oh my god. I don't know it, but I'm game.
It's chlorine sung to the tune of Jolene.
Oh my god. That's great.
Yeah,
I could absolutely do that.
Yeah,
I love
Amanda.
Dolly Parton. She's amazing.
I love that. That'd just be awesome.
Great.
Yeah, get you, me, Mel, Amanda. We'll sing a little bit of it and see if we can get Art to put it all together.
Yeah, I don't, you know, to have the opportunity to maybe get that money for Angel, and I don't really give a fuck what happens to me anyway. So, you know, take that chance for him. Absolutely.
Aww.
I like Mel's idea of rigging the contest in her favour.
Yeah, I like Mel's idea of rigging it, but still, I don't think I'd take the risk.
If you had Donald Trump and it was on climate science.
No, then obviously. It wouldn't be a problem at all.
Wait a minute. Let's just clarify, Dave. I know nothing.
Yeah, so,
I have never been trained in anything above high school crap in the 80s, which they didn't teach you anything that they teach now. And I could beat him in a science match. So that wouldn't be hard.
Maybe even math. If
Yeah.
you consider algebra, and you know, and just consider algebra too. If it was a math thing, probably good on
Oh,
that. Too.
Just stop at 6th grade math. We'd still get it.
Reading comprehension. What does this actually say here?
Spelling.
I want
Reading
spelling.
comprehension.
I'm on that shit.
Yeah.
Reading comprehension,
I
Dave?
have
Yeah.
Yes.
words. Yes, sure you do. That's not even real.
That's like somebody last night in all the chats. I bumped into him like 3 different times, and he kept saying, "You know who's president because the cleaning aisle at Walmart is now marked first aid."
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Did you see the Onion came out with an article back in March, and it was local man buys up all of the disinfectants for because the White House says it's a potential cure. And so the Onion was predicting like what happened this month.
God, they're making
probably already
satire so hard because it's just
You know-
situational irony at this point. You can't. It's like he just does it and he comes out of his mouth, and then it's like, well, there it is. I can't even make a joke about that because
Well,
the joke is
First
right
he
there.
tried to say that he didn't say it, and then he
Yeah.
came back and said, "Oh, I was sarcastically asking the press corps, specifically the left side press corps, about it."
That was sitting
Yeah.
on the wall where
You
Dr.
were,
Burns
yeah, you were like looking at her while you spoke, and it,
Yeah, no, he
face.
said it was directed at
I'm
one
really
of
interested
his advisors or something, and I'm like,
Jen, are you ever gonna let me finish a sentence? Like ever?
no, it's my job.
My Dave has her on.
Sorry, Amanda.
Aw, come back, man. No, we like you.
We love you.
You know I love you, Amanda.
It's fine. I'm not here.
You know, taking
Jeff-
the piss out of people is how Australians show their love. To just
Yeah.
broadly paint a whole group of people with a huge brush. That's nice of me.
Oh God.
We
So
won't. We
again,
don't care. We won't hold it against you, Julie.
Thank you.
Oh my
Anyways, Amanda, go.
No. But I don't even remember what I was saying now. So it's
That
fine.
Trump's an arsehole.
Aw.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Did you, Dave? Did you answer? You
I've
didn't.
forgotten what the question was. No, I wouldn't enter.
the $10 million public execution.
No, I wouldn't. Then. Well, if I could jerry-rig the contest so that I guaranteed I wouldn't come last, sure. I like Portugal. Good drug laws. I was going to say, Jeff says, spoiler alert, this show is called Critical Questions. This is already the show. Someone gets to die at the end of it.
Shit.
Oh,
I'm screwed. I've got all these intelligent
do we have
people
a
around
point
me.
system?
I'm screwed.
I have a fine arts degree. I'm
There
scared.
are no. I can guarantee there are no fine art questions.
Damn it!
Unless it's porn related, and is that really fun?
It can be.
I'm degreeless. I just have
depends.
street cred.
Street cred.
Yeah,
Nice.
that works.
That works.
Don't sell yourself
You
short.
don't have
Dean.
you
You're
have
very
crippling
brilliant.
debt. I do, so that works.
Aw, see, Amanda, that's why I want to hug you. You're so sweet. Gosh.
Right.
Thank you.
Next question.
I would take that hug, B.
I'd give it to you. I'm Italian. I hug everybody. Anyways, I'm sorry, Dave.
That's
I
okay.
guess we segued.
We're doing well. We've done 3 questions in 30 minutes. 3 questions. Right. Question 395. What is the worst thing you've ever done to get rid of someone that you didn't want to have sex with?
Oh, was it who? This was
I
Nerdy's
got a good
question,
one.
wasn't
Oh,
it?
sorry.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Sorry. B, you got it first.
I would settle with date as well, rather than have sex with. But that was the original question as given to me.
Really drunk, end up in bed, get up, go to the bathroom, come back, and start sobering up and realize what I'm doing. And, fell asleep in the middle, right in the middle. Like, yeah, that's what I did.
Like, but no, this is something you do on purpose.
It's
you
hard to
pretended
do
fall
that.
Asleep?
Huh?
Okay. You pretended to fall asleep?
Oh, yeah. And then she's
Okay.
like, oh, and she's trying to wake me up because she wants to continue. And I'm going, oh my God, what am I doing? I don't want anything to do with this. So she's like shaking me and I'm still trying to, it's really hard to do that and not react.
Mhm.
I'm just saying, it takes skill. It took skill. I'm just saying. Street cred. Street cred.
Who does that though? Like, hey, up! Can you get up now? Because I want to finish fucking, please. It's like weird.
No,
right?
that's what she did for like 7 or 8 minutes. She would stop.
Wake
And I was like, well, I'm glad you were enjoying it. I was not. So it was ridiculous.
Yeah. Wow.
I love you. No, honey, that's an orgasm. Oh, I'm sorry. We went way out of bounds on that one.
Amanda.
Oh, why the fuck am I next? You usually pick me last.
Exactly.
I started crying on purpose so that he would stop touching me. I was like, started talking. It was, I mean, I might have been a little drunk, but yeah, I was like not really in the mood anymore. And he was trying to talk his way back into it, and so I started talking about my ex, and I started crying. Like, it wasn't. I did it on purpose so that he would just like fuck off. And, yeah.
Jeff said he
Anyway.
ran. Oh, go on.
What, Dave?
Go on. I was going to say what Jeff said. I thought you'd finished.
No.
Because Jeff said.
It's okay, Amanda. I cry every time I have sex with a guy. Go ahead. Same.
Jeff said he ran out on a girl one night. She met her that night, and she already wanted to get married and have kids.
Oh, wow.
You're the one. I can do
The
it
one.
all. It's weird and uncanny.
Oh,
I know.
We have you feel this
And then she
connection.
leaves
I
gifts
have
on
with
your
you?
doorstep.
Granted,
These
you
gifts on your
cleaned
doorstep
that
every
hair,
morning.
right? So like,
Yeah.
it's magical. You know, I can see a woman, falling madly in love with just the hair itself.
Man.
It is good hair.
Mel?
Oh God. I'm trying to think.
She was hoping you'd skip her. No.
Well, I'm trying to think. Most of the time, if I don't want to have sex with somebody, it's like I just try to just dodge all the, oh gosh, because I'm not
All
really
the cues.
confrontational on that. And so it's like, yeah, I don't want to do that. And then, but with me, it's not always a pleasant experience because sometimes I end up kicking a person. And then I'm like, yeah, no, do you not understand? Because there's always, with me, people will be like, well, maybe I can coerce her. There's a lot of people that have tried coercion with me. And I'm just like, no. There was a guy who I was like professionally friends with. He met him through science communication and all kinds of stuff. He was like, hey, I'm gonna be in your town, and they were like, did science photography. I like to hang out. And I'm like, sure. And it's just like, and so I felt obligated to take them places. And then it's like, they thought, hey,
it's a date.
Let's do this. And I'm like, yeah, just no.
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 Come. I don't want to. We don't have
I'm
that.
obligated to drop you off at the airport. Not
And I'm like, I planned like, we can go here, we can go hang out here. This is gonna be great. Got good food at this place. We're gonna just talk. Most boring person I have ever spent time with almost fell asleep at a pub where they were talking. My favorite pub, I'm about to go to sleep at the table. And they're like, you're so hot and this. And I'm just like, you just spent like the last hour complaining about your ex-wife and asked me what my retirement plans were and what my funding was going to be for that. I don't care. So it's like, but then he would like rub on me and try to kiss me. I'm like, ugh. I'm like physically like going, this is not happening. And then he's like, when I rub you like this, that's not creepy. That's me thanking you for being such a great
That's
host.
not creepy.
That's not creepy. I'm telling you, that's not creepy.
It's not creepy. Okay.
Isn't that what Joe
If
Biden
someone has to
did?
say that's not creepy, it's creepy.
Absolutely.
We had a term for that in college. That was octopus boy.
Oh god.
The one who always wanted to give you a massage.
Ugh.
Too many hands. Yeah.
You know what's the fucking worst is when a guy like is walking near you and puts his hand on the small of your back, like someone who's not your significant other. Like, why?
I'm saying that's very intimate.
Yeah.
It is.
That's very you own me. Right.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's like saying to the whole world, I own this person, we're fucking. I mean, it's true.
Anywhere in this area, if we're not fucking, don't touch me.
Yeah.
Why?
No, it's
Why?
fine if it's a significant other. I'm talking about just like random men in general. Like, and any, whether it be someone you know or just some stranger in a store, and they're just like, here you go, and they fucking, I hate that so much.
I've had that in stores where you've gone in to buy something, and the person who comes over to help you will put their hand in the small of your back to direct you to where they want you to go in the store. And I'm capable of following.
Yeah.
Yeah. Use your words.
I'm not fucking blind.
That's
Even
what
small children and puppies could follow.
Yeah.
We're not dancing in the store. They do that.
Yeah, exactly.
They tell you which direction they're going when you're like doing proper dancing like that. But you're not dancing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's how
Something else to do
okay,
today.
they'll push a little bit this way on the back, and they're like, we're moving this way now. That's how you lead. But it's like, we're not dancing. So don't touch me.
Oh, I thought of one. It took me.
That's what I've been doing wrong. That's what I was doing wrong all these years. Thank you.
It took me a
Thank you.
minute, but I had to remember a time. I had to remember when did I not want to have sex with someone? But I got one.
Oh shit.
She froze.
And then she froze.
Me?
Well,
Put the finger up.
while we wait for Julie, I got a girlfriend to. I texted a girlfriend and got her to phone me once and told the guy I had to go because my grandmother was ill. She'd been dead like 6 years.
She was very
Well,
ill.
that's who you use. You always use
She
the
was
dead
very
ones.
ill, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh god.
You don't want to curse the ones alive, so you just use the dead ones. I've done that
Yeah, she's a
for
devil.
somebody.
Oh boy.
Is Julie
So
going
I've,
to come
I've
back?
actually done the trope. It was a blind date, and I wasn't keen on going in the first place, and it was like, yeah, okay, help me out.
Oh goodness. Lost Julie. That's all right. What about you, Critical Cripple? What did you do?
He put his hand in the small of her back.
And she punched him.
Stick punch, stick punch.
I don't think it's ever come up.
You're away.
Best one.
This was not interested.
Are you
So,
back,
Dave?
Julie?
No.
I don't think it's. I don't. But I can recall it's never come up.
Really? Okay.
Julie, you look like this.
I think
Wait a
You've
minute.
been frozen.
Yeah, you've been frozen.
awesome. Could have been
So,
worse.
so we missed
Could've
most
been
of
worse,
what you
thank
said.
you,
So
Bea.
you want to try again?
Try again.
Did you not? Did y'all not hear what I said?
No.
We had none of
Oh.
it.
Okay, so I had to go way back to like college to remember, but I purposefully lost a girl's phone number because I was not interested. And didn't have the guts at the time to tell her I was to her face that I was not interested, which would have been the mature thing to do.
Mm.
But I was like 19 and not terribly mature. So no. Totally just tossed
I get
that
it.
number.
Yes.
Yeah, I just hit maturity like 3 or 4 years ago, so I understand.
You've got maturity?
I think I was 45. Yeah, that was it. It's 45.
Shit.
That's when I found
That's
it.
coming soon. Don't say that.
Coming soon.
Yeah.
It was years
Oh.
ago.
He was
Nick just said,
okay.
so David's never got up. I'll come up.
No. Ilya
meant
said,
the year. Dave meant the age. There was a funny crossover
Yeah.
there.
Ilya said, I told someone I had an itch down there, and I'm sure it wasn't serious, but maybe we shouldn't.
Oh,
I like that.
awesome.
Badger,
I gotta remember that one.
Badger says, I start telling them in detail about Mandalorian culture and how Clone Wars gets it wrong. If they stay after that,
would
it's
not-
probably
that would
worth
have the
it.
opposite effect on me, Badger, just so you know.
See, the issue
Yeah, that's like
would
birth
be
control.
that we would never get to the sex now because we would be talking about this shit all night long. So
Yeah.
kind of
I-
like
I-
fuck yourself with that.
That
I
would probably
propose-
be bad because he doesn't like being touched.
I proposed a junk shop after he described the Kessel Run in detail at Christmas.
Oh wow!
Like that, it's such a turn on for me. I was like, yeah,
Aw.
you forever now. Lock this shit down.
Oh, God. Yeah, if I get on like if there's somebody that I'm mildly attracted to and we start talking heavy science, I'm like, oh my God. And it's stuff that we can like get really, really heavy nerdy on. I'm like, oh wow, this is amazing. So it's like,
Now
Yeah,
half the
so
guys in the
afterwards,
chat.
that would just be
A good
perfect.
brain is so attractive.
Oh God, yeah.
And they
I-
fry
I-
up a
The
treat.
chat just signed up for a science class, Mel. I want you to know that. That's what just happened. What?
Oh my goodness, yeah. I do like really good, thorough discussions and things. And that can happen with geek lore, any kind of geek lore, anything like that. I got in a heavy discussion once about whether or not Wayne Tech could sustain like Batman falling out of that height, like in the second with Heath Ledger, Dark Knight Rises.
Oh, yeah,
or
yeah.
something like- And so when he falls out the window, so we're getting into the physics about it. I'm like, man, is anybody else turned on? So, like, when you can't handle the amount of force when it hits on the top of the car and it crunches that way, what kind of stuff would it have to be made out of? So it was just like a solid 3-day discussion about that. It was great.
Oh,
Brilliant.
that is marvelous.
So you have an opinion on whether or not Superman could catch someone that was falling without them chopping in half?
Well, I mean, if he was
Oh!
Dave.
No, Dave, don't leave. You're the show, man. We're here.
Yeah, you're the show. Do we have to take over now?
No. You're still here
Oh,
just
you don't
about.
want
Although
us to
half
take
lost
over,
Julie.
I can tell you that.
I'll do the next question.
Did you answer, Dave?
Yes.
Okay. Sure.
Question 396. Is school teaching, this is you, but this is general, is school teaching the skills you'll need to succeed in life?
No.
No. Does anybody think yes?
No.
No.
I think there's a percentage.
Yeah,
Wait a
I'm
minute,
with Mel
Dave-
on this. Certainly, if the person at school is intelligent enough, they tend to get put into higher programs, and they will learn the skills they need. I think where schools are lacking is when they're trying to teach skills to people who are below the average, and those people miss out because the schools aren't coping with that properly.
But do you think,
Yeah,
in
pushing them
terms,
through to the next grade is not fixing the problem.
No, it doesn't
Right.
help. No, you need to have better teaching systems in place before that. So you get these people, you catch these people, you give them extra activities to help lift them up to the level, because it's normally not an intelligence thing. It's normally there's other underlying issues, whether it's ADHD or there's a learning difficulties there that is there, but it's not intelligence based, because very few people have, or enough people do have lower intelligence, but it's not normally just that problem. It's usually something else, and they get missed because schools don't know how to deal with it on the whole.
No, you're absolutely right. That happens here a lot. I had students coming into a state university who'd never written a paper before. That wasn't their fault. That was the fault of whoever their K through 12 English teachers were, who never had them write a freaking paper. Yeah. So freshmen.
No, but you're right, Jen. I've been ADHD my whole life, and nobody knew it because I'm old, and they didn't diagnose it back then. So I got my ass beat a lot, and I would some classes I took, I'd have a straight A, and then another one the F, because I didn't care about that class. And if I don't really care about the subject, I couldn't focus on it enough to do well in it. I just didn't care. I was like, ooh, there's a bug on the ceiling. You know, I wasn't paying attention. That's why I never went to college and wasted the money, because I'm not going to sit there and study some crap course that I don't care about to get to where I want to be. I know I won't make it. I just can't.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it's true.
Yes. For me, I was a BC student through high school because of bullying, because of being intersex and all that sort of stuff. So I didn't cope with that. So my response was to not do anything, just show up and do tests and stuff like that. So I got through purely on how well I could remember everything in my intelligence, instead of actually on the fact that I did anything. And so I was lucky in that respect that I was capable. But had I not been capable, I would have failed miserably through high school because of those pressures. But those pressures were never picked up on. That I never got any support out of the school, because basically, if you were one of those people, you fell through the cracks. And even though teachers would say, well, we know you can do better than this. Well, I fucking know I can do better than this. But I'm fucking miserable 99% of the time. So why should I put any effort in?
Right.
So,
right.
And that was the thing as far as it goes. It's like the schools miss these things. They don't have the right procedures in place. And even now, I don't think some schools some places are possibly getting better with it. I mean, they're being more proactive to help with bullying and find kids who have problems now in some places, but not everywhere. And it's a fundage thing as well. I mean, education is woefully underfunded for anyone who isn't fucking rich as all shit and can afford it, basically.
No,
if you
it's
can
true.
afford it, you'll get good education. But for the average person who can't and has to rely on government schools, etc., you're screwed. You really don't get the support there. And yet education is what is the future of all our society. having better education means better outcomes in the future for society in general, because we get more people who end up in STEM and are capable of becoming the next people who discover the next great thing in science or chemistry or health or whatever else. You know, the person who finds the vaccine to the next great pandemic is somebody who's in school now, who may actually be missing out on the support that they need because our schools aren't good enough.
Yeah, and there's also
You know-
a thing about. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Dee.
No, go ahead.
No, I'm just
You're
going
not
to say really
frozen.
quick.
Go.
There's a thing about what you can envision for yourself. That has a lot to do with it too. Like I was the first person. I'm the youngest of 4. I was the first person in my immediate family to graduate from college. So from a university. So the thought of getting a master's never occurred to me until my ex-husband was like, "You could get a master's. You're smart enough." And I was like, "What? I could." And yeah, I could, and I did. But it never. I mean, it just wasn't in like I was. You know, it never occurred to me. That
And it doesn't. You tend to think you're dumber than what you are when you're stuck in those positions where you don't get that support in your education. I mean, I second guessed myself all the way through. I didn't think that I could go and do the science degree that I wanted to do. I didn't think I could cope with doing the science degree either, because I knew there wouldn't be the support there for me because there wasn't before. So I ended up doing computer science because it was so easy for me, and maths because 2 subjects that I was really good at and I could just breeze through without having to think about it. So my education ended up me breezing through everything.
Well, I'm a former high school
so easy
science
for me,
teacher,
Jeff.
so I have lots of comments.
Sorry.
But yeah, Julie
Funny.
froze up again.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean,
I thought Julie had finished. I didn't realize she'd frozen until I got partway through what I was saying.
Oh God.
Oh
So-
yeah, she had froze. Just let you go.
So I
Yeah.
used to teach high school science, chemistry, physical science, and biology. Biology 1 and biology 2. Having seen what I've seen, and one of the reasons why I do science communication is largely due to the gross illiteracy we have in the U.S. 27% of Americans think the sun revolves around the earth. That's what they think. So
That's depressing.
it is very depressing. You can look it up. It's the National Science Foundation. They have every couple of years they do science indicators. You can look up science indicators, National Science Foundation Science Literacy Study, and they do all the countries, all the major like countries that are first world, kind of like that. But I think we don't do enough for the critical thinking. I think if we focused more on problem solving, that would make it a bit more effective. Not just like what Jen was saying about people getting in STEM, but also how to know when somebody's trying to swindle you. So
I agree. Yeah,
you know,
yeah, totally.
just critical.
The problem
thinking
is
and
you have to have if you have to do that alongside religion, they won't let them do anything that will let them analyze that religion objectively.
well, I mean, I don't have a problem with religions in schools as long as it's a cultural studies class. You know, that's the way you can go about it. Show them all the religions, you know, and that's fine. When I went to high school, we had a vocational program where by the time you graduated, you had a certificate on cutting hair or license for childcare work or automotive certificates. You didn't have to go to college, but they prepped you for that. So you were job ready when you left. That's not available now. They can take some classes to help them get into a vocational school. But a lot of states are like, well, we have to have everybody be college ready. No, you don't. That's not helpful. That's not helpful.
I agree, Mel.
So they used to have that prior to No Child Left Behind. That was in place. But I was bound. My mom wanted me to go to college. I actually didn't finish until way later after I became an adult. But having seen what I've seen, we could shift it more if we just started implementing problem solving and critical thinking early on, alongside all of those disciplines. And I agree. I had people telling me I was too stupid to do science. I had an English teacher told me, you should never be a nurse. You're too stupid for that. I'm a published scientist now, and I work in academia. But it took me having to go through, and like you, Julie, I didn't know I could get a master's. I have 2. So it's like, once I figured out I could do it, it was hard work. And there were gaps there that I had to fill. I applied myself and I did it. So it's like, okay. But I think there are life skills that are taught in the current system with health, science, a little bit of science there. There's economics, but things like how to do your taxes is really freaking important.
Yes.
How to manage money a bit better. That needs to be a thing. In critical thinking,
Basic civics,
basic
Life skills.
physics. Understanding, not just using heavy words like DNA polymerase, but applying why do you need to know how the body works. So you'll know why you need to drink water. So you'll know how to lower your risk from getting cancer. And so you'll know, the effects of stuff on climate, and that science is really important just as a life skill, like climate science. Okay, you may not know a lot about climate science, but if it gets really hot, we can't grow things, which means food is going to be extremely expensive. And so will energy to cool off your freaking house. So it's like,
It's like the temperature where there are now places in the world that are too hot to be habitable for any length of time.
Right.
And they can't comprehend things like that.
No. So a lot of the time what I do as a science communicator is going, okay, this is how this is going to affect you. And so I'm like writing an online chemistry course right now for a college. And I have like 3 weeks to write an entire course for like a whole semester. That's fine. A lot of what I'm doing is applying when we're talking about pressure and volume. Okay, what's COVID-19 doing? It's messing with your lungs. Why does it feel like an elephant sitting on your chest? Why do we need ventilators? Because of gas laws. Here you go. So just showing them how that kind of stuff integrates into things that they know. It's, if you understand this, then you can have a better quality of life.
It's an odd thing we've had with the media over here, actually, on that one. Because the media sold that the CPAP machines would offer a viable alternative.
There's not.
And anyone that actually looks at it knows that it's just not going to work.
No, you have to force air into their lungs. And there's things like, and they're finding people have like scar tissue because of that force. There's all of those white blood cells have moved in. And since there's less volume, there's less space for air. So trying to force them out to where you can get air in there, it's causing scar tissue within the lungs. So they don't know, should we continue? It's either breathe or get lung scar tissue. Breathe and get lung scar tissue or not breathe. So
that actually happened to my son when he was born. He had aspirated some meconium, and they had to put him. He wasn't oxygenating enough, so they had to put him on a ventilator, and it scarred his lungs up really bad. He technically still has lung disease now because of it. So
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. He's fine. He grew out of most of it. He just still has some scarring. So, but I get that.
Yeah, but see, all of this type of stuff, understanding basic concepts associated with things like this, help you understand. CPAP machines aren't going to force all those white blood cells out of your lungs.
No.
Just
Right?
not going to do that. So.
I think pretty much everyone in the chat agrees no.
Yeah.
We shall move to the next one. Question 397. Would you rather fight 100 duck-sized horses or one horse-sized duck?
I would rather fight 100 duck-sized horses. I've been
we're using critical thinking.
Bad.
Hold on.
Yeah, I don't want to fight a horse-sized duck. I think I can. Duck-sized horses, they're like little dogs, and their teeth are then be smaller, and the bite wouldn't be so bad. But a giant duck, I've been bitten by a duck, and it hurts.
A horse-sized duck is basically a fucking ostrich or emu, isn't it? So I've been
Smack you with a
times
wing.
by an emu that bloody hurts.
No, I'd say it's probably
Wait,
3
are you
times the
talking
size of
about
an
like
emu.
Are you talking about like a small horse or like a Clydesdale?
I think you're thinking of something.
there's a
I think
difference.
you'd be looking at something the size of a cocker spaniel.
Yeah, like a bunch of little dogs, like 100 little dogs that
No,
don't
no,
have
I'm
sharp
saying
teeth.
The horse-sized duck. What kind of horse? What size is the duck? Is it just a regular 15-hand horse, or is it a big-ass Clydesdale or like Big John on that movie? Like, what kind of horse are we talking about?
I have no
need to
idea.
know what
Are some more
competition-
vicious than others?
Maybe like a Mustang. Maybe a Mustang size is about an average size horse. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh,
still
I'll
wouldn't
take
wanna
that. I'll
fight
just jump on that thing's back and.
I need
I
a
got it.
repeat on the question because it
Good one,
roboted out for me.
Sorry. Would you rather fight 100 duck-sized horses or 1 horse-sized duck?
Interesting. One horse-sized duck, just because I'd like to see one. That would be cool.
That is the biggest feather I've ever seen in my life.
Right?
Jen.
It winged me.
Gosh. Yeah, that would be
Sorry,
a wing
bad joke.
flap. Yeah.
Jen.
Oh, I thought I already answered this.
Did you?
The 100 one.
100 one. Manda.
A horse-sized duck. Sounds like a lot of fun.
See, I think the numbers are the
Throw
problem.
a saddle on that shit. I mean, it would be epic.
Well, they would be.
Could you
epic.
imagine riding into town on that?
Wait. When did we go from fighting to trying to tame?
Exactly.
Because that's what we do naturally.
The
I
horse
how
was
I
gonna say, we're
fight.
humans.
You just
We're
run
humans, we try
around,
to tame everything.
don't you?
I'd be like, I have all the stale bread. Let's be friends.
I mean, ducks can fly. Would this thing be able to fly, Dave?
Oh, probably.
Yes.
Oh, then I've
hell
changed my
yeah.
answer. I'm going for the duck.
You've got to fight it, not ride it.
No,
You're now
humans. We
imagining a
tame
dragon.
everything.
Hang on. Bull riders are fighting the bull, but they're riding it.
No, bullfighters don't ride the bull.
No, but bull riders do, and they're
Bull-
basically fighting to stay on the bull. So you could jump on the back of the duck as part of fighting it and hang on.
Man, I just worry about the potential thing of breaking my back and never walking again.
Fair.
What if it starts
it's
flying? It's like, yeah,
fine.
screw you, and it turns over the other way.
You cling onto its neck.
and just
You
hang
cling
there.
onto it.
Oh, good.
You'd be like Mother Goose, wouldn't you?
Oh my gosh.
Didn't you ride around on the back of a giant goose? Mother
She
Goose,
did.
that's why they called her Mother Goose. Yeah, so yeah, you'd be like Mother Goose, but you'd be Mother Duck instead. But
Oh, Lord.
Well, every time you fly overhead, everybody would say that anyways. Could you imagine
Duck,
that pile
yeah.
of crap that thing
I was going to
threw
say,
down
people
as
would
it's flying?
fear you flying overhead.
There'd be
yeah.
like 5 gallons of poop
Plumbing
every
runs.
time.
Yeah, but duck-sized horses.
Oh,
After you
I'd
fight
spend
them
a
off.
lot of time over the White House.
Oh God.
Same.
Duck-sized horses,
that,
though,
Mel?
you could have them as pets, maybe,
Yep.
and then divide them out to the neighborhood and be like, "Hey guys, I got 100 duck-sized horses here," and that would be manageable. And they could cut your grass. They could eat
Could
your
you
grass.
imagine if you slaughtered one, you could eat for like a year off of that thing?
A duck-sized horse? Oh, are you talking about a horse-sized duck?
A duck.
You'd have to have a big freezer.
Yeah,
way
you
could
know,
feed
if
the whole
somebody had,
town.
if somebody bred
If you had a duck,
duck-sized
if you had ducks
horses,
that big, someone would give you a freezer. Come on, you'd have ducks, like huge giant ducks.
But what if it
They
was
would just
only
donate
one?
stuff to you.
If it's just one, they can't breed.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
So-
The 100. Yeah,
would
but even 100, you'd have a biological bottleneck there with 100 on the
That's
other one.
possible. That's possible.
Yeah.
You'd have to like be very careful how you paired it up. You know.
I
Yeah,
feel
how
you
you
might
bet.
be overthinking this question.
You answer, Dave? Dave,
Nobody overthinks any of your questions. That is not true. Never happens.
I'd go for the large duck.
Too bad.
The biggest problem you'd have, if you had the 100 duck-sized horses, you'd have somebody who'd come along and they'd want to paint them all colours and put horns on their heads and sell them as My Little Ponies.
You know.
Yeah, all right, I can do that.
Well, if they were all different colors, you could do like selective breeding and try to breed for particular colors.
Yeah, the problem is I'd be using food dye.
You'd be using food dye.
But see, that wouldn't hurt them. That'd be okay.
You'd be wanting to make a Pinkie Pie just so you could sell it to the kids, right?
So all the rich people would be buying them so their little 3-year-olds can ride a horse. That's
Yes.
what would happen.
I
They'd
know.
get abused. Let's just not
Considering
do
when
it.
My Little
They'd get
Pony
abused.
started, I know way too much about them.
I'm sorry.
Right, second to last question coming up. Question 398. If you could control how famous you are, how famous would you be?
Oh.
not at all. No.
No.
Amanda just wants everybody to leave her alone. She's like, no.
Don't look at me. None of it.
And yet you're on YouTube, Amanda.
Because you assholes convinced me to be.
Oh, do you
All
regret
Aussies
it?
did, so.
Do you regret it?
No, I don't regret it. I just no,
There you go.
no. I mean, I have everybody. You know, you guys are my family, and I love you all very much. But I just don't want people to look at me. That's all.
You can go away now. Yes, that's okay.
See, you should have started out going on lives with like a
Fine.
Darth Vader mask or something, and nobody would know what you look like. That's what you should have done. You could have hid behind it the entire
Come
time.
up with an original idea. Come on as a badger.
I'd be a pig actually at the So,
If you can come up with a good 3D pig model that face tracks in the next few weeks, you could probably be the first one to do it and be unique for a long time.
Oh, yeah. Well, you could be Physics Pig.
it could be.
Yeah.
See, what really gets me about this is waiting the 15 to 20 seconds to see him react. Mel.
Oh gosh. Well, that depends. Number one, what am I being famous for?
Well, you would get a choice in this. This is the point of the question. You would get to decide that.
I would get to decide that. Okay. And also, is there a lot of money associated with all of the problems that come with being really famous?
No.
There's not a lot of money associated.
Well, if you decide to be famous for being a pop star, there can be.
Okay.
Or a criminal of some sort.
I don't want to be David Koresh famous. You know, I don't want to be known for that. Or
Who?
Ted-
No, I'm kidding.
I don't
Go
want
ahead.
to. I don't want to do that. I guess I think it'd be okay to be like super famous, but I understand that there's a lot of issues associated with that. I'm not even super famous, and I have stalkers, so it's like if I had the resources to be able to manage that, then yeah, it'd be cool being super famous for doing science stuff. I think that'd be awesome, like science, edutainment, or whatever. That would be cool, because then at least people be watching it, they'd be learning stuff, and if I had a good paycheck to go with that.
Would you want to go? Would you want to go a Veritasium or a Cox?
Oh, I love Brian Cox. I love him
Oh,
with
yeah,
my heart.
too.
See, I crush on him. Like, big time. Like
He's
probably
hot,
be-
isn't he?
Jesus. I used to show his videos in like my classroom when I was teaching biology. And I would let them vote, do you want to watch this Cosmos episode with Neil deGrasse Tyson, which has all the bells and whistles, or do you want to watch this Brian Cox video? And the girl's like, I kind of like the way Brian Cox explains things. It's really nice.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I'm watching.
you and me on the same wavelength,
We are
ladies.
now friends. Yeah.
But it's literally the same content presented in two completely different formats. All the guys are like, oh, there's special effects in Cosmos, and then you got this, all the bells and whistles, which is a lot of what Americans are used to, is like this huge thing. But then you get Brian Cox, who's sitting outside of a waterfall talking about kinetic energy, and I'm like, tell me all about it, Brian. What about
But how much of it do you remember?
I honestly understand concepts better because I've watched Brian. I struggled in physics, but when I started watching like stuff on his acid-base chemistry, and then he was talking about kinetic movement and how all of these equations apply, it was like 3 minutes. I'm like, I understand it so much better than a year of sitting in physics. I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. He's a really good educator. And not just because he's pretty and has a nice voice, and he's like,
and he's musically talented.
He is. He's very talented. I loved his Human Universe series. I was just sitting there in awe the entire time.
Have you seen him? He sung Monty Python's Universe song with Tim Minchin.
Ah, yes.
That was amazing.
Oh
that is brilliant. That was absolutely gorgeous. He is the aim. I mean, I'm getting to interview my hero with Dr. Carl Krusniski, but I think it'd be the icing on the cake if I ever got to interview Brian Cox. And yes, Mel, you'll be invited.
Thank you. It's funny. It's funny because I've met Neil deGrasse Tyson, and I don't know if y'all know Doc Savage.
I didn't say you wouldn't be invited, Amanda. It was just I was talking to Mel at the moment.
Oh gosh. So it's like Doc Savage, who co-hosted my show Oral Audacity for a while. He actually met Brian Cox, and I've met Neil deGrasse Tyson, and he was more jealous of the fact that I'd met Neil deGrasse Tyson. I'm like, but you met Brian Cox, and he's like, yeah, he's a nice guy. We had a beer, and I'm like,
I believe that I believe that oh God knows. Well, never mind. I'm not going to continue because I'm not going to be embarrassed about the person's name that I've just forgotten.
Hey, Dave.
And now I will never be able to finish that thought because I am never letting anybody know whose name I just forgot.
I think Dave knows that. Waiting on it.
What? No.
we're
B.
fangirling so much, and Dave's like, man, it's fine.
I am really embarrassed. And I haven't even said who it was.
And stop talking, Jen.
B.
Dave, can you answer?
I haven't got everyone else's answer yet. B. How famous would you be?
Famous enough that people wouldn't really know who I am for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, not famous enough so they really wouldn't have, but famous enough that I can have enough money to help people. If I was rich, I would have no money. I know I would just give it all away. I know I would. I'm a sucker, but yeah. So famous enough so nobody. It's kind of like those rich guys in the background that nobody knows their names, but there's just money out there somewhere. Yeah.
Fair enough. Julie?
But a crazy giving version.
Yeah, I again missed the question because apparently my internet connection is crap today. So it has to do with being famous or what?
Now, if you could control how famous you are, how famous would you be?
Moderately, so that I could monetize my YouTube channel in case my job goes away during the pandemic. Because I'm already furloughed, and if they don't have me back later, it's scary.
Yes.
So yeah, I wouldn't mind being moderately internet famous. That'd be great.
And moderately internet famous.
Yeah.
Enough that people that are within your circle know you well, but
Yeah,
the general
enough
public
that-
don't have a clue.
Yeah, enough that I could, feel like I had a right to put a Patreon to do that. That would be great. As of
Everyone
yet,
has a
not so
right.
I've got like 7 videos. I feel weird doing it right now. I'm like, hey,
I thought you had more than 7.
I might at this point. I need to go back and count them. They're also all
I think that's
misnumbered
exactly
because
how many I have.
yeah, there were videos that I shot completely and tried to upload, and because I shot them on my phone, which has super high def, nice smartphone thing, it just I couldn't get them to upload. It took like 2 days and I still hadn't uploaded. So yeah, the numbers are all out of order, unfortunately. It's gonna drive some people nuts.
Very good. Right, Linda says not famous. Alias says MathPig famous. MathPig says local famous for good reasons, as opposed to the local famous for bad reasons he is now.
Right.
Jeff says the irony of so many social introverts being on YouTube.
That's so true.
It's the best place for us. We don't have to be around each other, but we can talk.
Yes.
Right? Exactly. This is our time.
We're the only ones that are still sane. Doc says, I would choose 0 famous, like completely unknown. I'd be so not famous, I'd be invisible. Then MathPig starts talking about Brian Cox fanfiction.
Brian Cox is amazing. I couldn't get that out because everything from my end, from my perspective, was roboting the whole time Mel was talking about Brian Cox. Oh my god.
I love
Awesome.
him.
Yes.
Santi says he'll be a rock star so he can piss off conservatives.
Hey, Sandy. Be awesome.
Empty purse. Right. Badger says possibly YouTube famous, but only with a pseudonym. What, an avatar? Like no one would actually know who you are?
Only is better.
I want to be just famous enough that I can wear my underwear on the outside of my pants and get away with it.
Do you want
Nice
the powers
callback.
that go with that as well?
What's that?
Do you want the powers that go with that as well?
Yeah.
What powers does having wait. What powers does having your underwear on the outside give you?
It goes back to the first.
Well, if you get to pick how famous you are, you can pick your powers too.
No.
I want X-ray
I'm not
vision
sure
for
that
obvious
works that way.
reasons because of hot women, and I want
Being able
I don't know.
to decide how famous you are does not change the laws of physics.
if I'm
I mean-
famous enough, I can
Superhero.
create my own suit.
I
Like
suppose
Tony
you
Stark
could
can
be
do what I want,
Batman
so-
or Iron Man. If you had enough money.
Or somebody
If
better.
you're famous enough, you could have enough money to do that.
Yes, well, that was my point. Sure, I'll be famous.
How famous, Dave?
I don't
By the
know.
way, I haven't actually answered this question.
No, I know. I was going to get to you in a second. Household name for something stupid.
Oh gosh, like a cereal commercial person. Like,
Oh no, boy that fell out down a well or something like that.
okay.
Ooh. You want to be rescued, Dave? I got you, baby. I'll come get you.
You have to get him down from the scaffolding, so.
Yes.
It's all right. I have the underwear. I can do it. It's fine.
Jen.
Reasonably. Like, I wouldn't like to be, famous actor famous, but I'd be happy with YouTube famous to the point of being known as like a someone who debunks stupid people and does science education. I'd be happy with that. So, just because I like the fact that you can get out. There's so many people who believe so many stupid things. It would be really nice to be famous enough that you could combat some of that.
Mm.
See, the problem with being famous in the science area is that the people that already know some science would know you. The people that don't wouldn't have an idea who you are, and then you wouldn't be famous to them.
Fine with that
So
too, because
22 there.
But because having to talk to other people who are into science, like people here, for instance, like Momma Atheist and ScientistMel, is freaking exciting for me because we can have intellectual conversations and we can lift ourselves up. And we've lost Julie. So I find that great. Just talking to people within the community now who know a lot more about me than some subjects is just absolutely awesome because I learn a lot from them. I hope that occasionally I can help open their minds to some things they haven't thought about as well. That I don't know if that ever actually happens. I talk a lot, but I don't know if I always talk sense.
Well, I'm going to tell you, every Saturday morning if I'm not working on a Saturday morning at 10 a.m. my time, I'm watching Mel. Because I learn something every time.
Yeah.
I do.
I try to watch Mel whenever I can. Her videos are usually at the wrong time for me because I'm heading to bed.
Yeah, I always stalk her on Saturday mornings. As a matter of fact, last Saturday I was driving with my brother to the store, and I went and picked him up. We were on the store, and I had her on, sending it through my truck, driving down the road. So him and I were just having a great talk, listening to you on your spiel. We were laughing, and I had just watched 2 days before the video with Trump and the doctor going, "Oh shit," and then I saw you doing it, and you said she just thought, "There goes my career," and that's the same thing I thought. I'm associated with this idiot. I'm done. I'll never work in the United States again. Anyways,
the one you don't want to miss, B, is when towards the middle of next month, or maybe a little after the middle of next month, when Mel, Navadi, and myself interview Dr. Karl Krusniski on Mero's channel. On Navadi's channel.
I heard you talking about it. You're gonna have to.
That is a happening thing. It's been.
Link.
Oh, it'll be linked. Don't worry, we will all link this. People will know about this
because I don't know who Mary is, and I need a day and time.
We don't have one yet. That's going to be confirmed in the first 2 weeks of next month, and then we'll have a date, and then we will get on. But we will be interviewing him about his new book that's coming out, and about his history of science education, and about women in STEM as well, because it's a topic that he wants to encourage more women into STEM. So it'll be part of the topic. So it should be a really good conversation, and I'm really looking forward to it. I know Mero is, and I know Mel is as well, because we talked about it between the three of us. So, and it's just amazing that we're getting somebody like that to talk to. I mean, I know these people do. Like even Neil deGrasse Tyson will come down and talk to people who are lower on the YouTube train than
food chain?
On the food chain. Yeah, the food chain is a good one than he is. But I mean, it's like it's just always amazes me that people who they don't have to. They have their own careers. They have their own levels of popularity. They have their books. They don't have to come and help us, but they will, because
those are the ones that really care, and they want to encourage, and they want other people to get in there. And I just want to say, I think we really segued, but go ahead, Jen.
No, my point was, I think the whole point is that they think the same way as we do, and it's not just when we don't have as many followers or anything like that, so we can't be as. I would like to think that if I did get this kind of followers, I would be exactly like him. And if a little up-and-coming channel said, "Hey, Jem, will you come on my channel and talk about this? Or can I come and talk with you on your channel?" I would be turning around saying, "Yes, if you've got something interesting to say, please come and talk with me."
You should watch Math Pigs.
I mean, I'm not big now, but I would say that now because I think that's important.
You should watch Math Pigs' interview with Holy Kool-Aid.
I'm still going to have you on my channel. Oh, I'm sorry, Dave. Go ahead.
Okay, so you should watch Math Pig's interview with Holy Kool-Aid. We were talking about it.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Hello again.
Because I think that's important. It's something that I like about our community is it seems to be that way, and I'd like it. I'd hope that if any of us got really big, that we would keep the same attitude.
Oh, I'm just going to forget the lot of you.
Yeah, but you're
Forget us anyway, Dave.
I know.
The only way you're remembering us if we keep reminding you.
Who are you?
I have no idea.
I apologize for that. My browser crashed hard.
What's his name?
It's okay, Julie. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
We're good.
Dave, did you answer?
Yes.
Okay. Did you?
Yes. Famous for falling down a well and being rescued by B.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He wants to be the little rescued boy, right?
It's a household name for something stupid.
Lassie.
Right. Last question today. Which, for some reason, is the wrong number.
I understand that.
If you pause too long, Dave, we're going to segue again. You're never going to get to
I know.
jump on it.
Right. Question 399. Would you rather be a giant hamster or a tiny rhino?
Well,
Define giant tiny?
Yeah, like dire hamster?
Well, a hamster
Like
the
rhino?
size... A hamster the size of...
A horse.
No, a Great Dane.
A Great Dane. I'm fairly certain if there was a rodent of unusual size, I'd get killed, so I'm going to go with tiny rhino.
So you
Then
want to be a
tiny rhino probably get
Because-
killed too.
Yeah, but cute. Like,
No,
How
somebody
small's the tiny
would
rhino?
tear it apart, dissect it. How did it get so tiny?
I mean,
they
effectively,
might.
Dave, because you're talking about a tiny rhino and a large hamster, you could actually say they're both exactly the same size. Because a Great Dane-sized rhino would still be a tiny rhino.
Well, the rhino, I'm thinking maybe Chihuahua-sized. It's tiny.
Oh, that would be
How about
cute.
you?
It would bump
Yeah, it
you.
would.
Aww.
Yeah.
It'd be
I
so
want
cute. Yeah.
Right.
I suppose one thing
Put
is you'd be an endangered species being a rhino.
Rose on its thing. Yeah.
You think someone's going to take care of you instead of trying to eat you?
If you're a tiny rhino?
Yeah.
Well, it depends
think-
where you are.
Yeah.
Fair point.
If you're
Fair
in
point.
Australia, I think you'd be pretty safe.
I guess we're making the assumption that they might be pets because hamsters are pets. Are we going like
But
it's
rhinos
there's-
aren't.
Yeah, rhinos aren't technically pets, but we're putting it together as an option. So maybe they're both.
You
pets.
might be a pet, you might not be.
But okay.
But we're humans. We domesticate everything.
Yeah, we
Mel.
domesticate
everything.
life.
Ooh, a
But, you
bug.
know-
I have a pet. It's a cockroach.
Tiny rhino at a zoo would be okay, or a tiny rhino in a house would be okay. But if there's at least one tiny rhino, there's got to be other tiny rhnos.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, you know, maybe I can
Well, then
have
we'd
it
have
Well,
to
unless
take
you're
them and
manufactured in a lab.
manufactured in a
The
lab.
whole thing would be like cats again, but rhinos.
Genetic engineering.
Genetic engineering of
Oh,
a tiny
my.
rhino. Well, then that would be the same maybe with a hamster. Would you want to be a giant
Yeah,
hamster
genetic.
made in a lab?
Yeah, especially as because you're a lab made, nobody would actually care whether you stayed alive or not.
Yeah,
A
that
giant
would
hamster
be-
could defend itself better.
maybe.
I don't
but,
know. The rhinos have that hairy nose attachment, so
Yeah.
but they're always drunk.
I still go with tiny rhino because if I die, at least I die cute.
If what is,
a giant rodent.
if what is drunk?
What?
If what is drunk?
Rhinos.
Okay.
rhinos are drunk.
Rhinos are... Am I thinking of... Yeah, it's rhinos that are famously well known for getting drunk. Or is that hippos?
Have they?
Might be hippos.
I don't know.
Who is feeding rhinos alcohol?
They
Stop it.
eat fermented fruits.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh,
I was
okay.
about
Well,
to
that's
say,
I-
I
natural
on
then.
YouTube. We
Same.
gave this
That's what I do.
rhino some whiskey, and now it's running all weird. You, know? You think people would put that on YouTube?
And I'm now wondering whether it's hippos, not rhinos. That's the worst thing.
Oh, God.
Oh, Dave.
So, most of you, everyone's going for a tiny hippo, aren't they? Tiny rhino.
No, I want to be the hamster.
You want to be the hamster?
I want to be fluffy.
You want to be fluffy?
Aww.
People could ride you.
Amanda's dog.
You might be confusing hamsters and
Speaking of
guinea pigs.
fluffy.
Guinea pigs are fluffy.
Hamsters are quite fluffy.
Hamsters are fluffy. They do have they don't have a lot of fur on their tails, if any. Am I thinking of gerbils? God damn it.
See, I'm now starting to get all the little small rodents mixed up.
Chinchilla
Oh, I
has a
love you.
fluffy
I love
tail,
your
I
puppy
think.
dog.
Yeah,
Amanda.
that's Leia, the one that's
Yeah.
barking. So. Just so, yeah.
I feel her
Behind
hair
the
should be.
camera dog.
Mhm.
Mel, straighten me out here. What's the difference between hamsters and gerbils?
I mean, they're cousins, but they're not the same. They look similar, yeah, but I don't know, like, genetically the main differences. Other than
Oh
just-
no, yeah, just like on on spec, like when you see them, like I'm fairly certain I can tell the difference when I'm looking at them. But
yeah, I think
I was-
aren't gerbils a bit bigger? You know,
Oh, see, I
gerbils
was
are a little
thinking
bit bigger than hamsters.
maybe I was
Yes.
thinking the exact opposite. Yes, okay, that's 2 for yes. I'll go with that. That's our consensus. I don't know.
And guinea pigs are bigger.
Well, it
and then
also
you got
depends on the
chinchillas
kind
that
of-
are fluffy with tails.
Right. Well, it also depends on the kind of hamster. Those little,
Oh, yeah.
they have those little fluffy hamsters that are really cute and adorable.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know.
Yeah, no, you're right. They're really cute. Then they're
think what they're
like the
called.
long-haired cat version of hamsters. They're really
Yeah,
really
yeah.
fluffy.
They have long hair. They have those little tiny little bear-like ears that are adorable, and they just sit there like they're just cute. You have to watch them. I did plainclothes security in a pet store at some point, so I've stared at gerbils before and hamsters.
Nice.
It's pretty.
Oh my god.
Except for playing with the animals, that was fun. That's why I did it.
Yeah.
So,
That
what are
would
the
be
final answers?
Oh, tiny rhino.
Tiny rhino. B.
Tiny rhino.
Mel.
Tiny rhino.
Tiny
Yeah.
rhino.
Probably tiny rhino.
And Manda is guinea pig.
Gerbil.
Sure.
Or hamster.
Oh, I can
Hamster.
remember my own
Hamster.
questions.
Get our
Yeah,
rodents
confused.
straight.
The original
Yeah.
question was hamsters.
Hamster. Sorry.
Hamsters have a little
Fluffy rodent.
pocket of thing on the back of their neck that they can use to store things. So
Yeah.
Ooh.
Do they?
Do you
Yeah,
I don't know
like,
why I didn't know that.
Right here.
Star
There.
Wars
I
Yeah.
put snacks in it.
Do you want to know why I know that? Because I used to do a comedy show on a community radio station, and we did a song about. We did an entire episode that was about hamsters, and it was one of the scientific facts we put into the middle of the episode, which I can't even remember where we dug it up from.
That's really cool.
It's weird, stupid things you remember when you do things.
Yes. Right. On that note, I'm going to say thank you very much to everybody. Thank you to Jen. Thank you to Julie. Thank you to Amanda. Thank you to Mel. Thank you to B. Thank you for being my first ever all-girl panel. Thank you for being my first all-mostly American panel. And say thank you to absolutely everyone for watching. And we will hopefully see you tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.